What it do, good people? It's your girl, Constance Carter, and this is Fly Nubian Money, where we help you maximize your money. All right, so listen, today we're gonna deem this hip hop day. Today we're gonna dive into rapper Trina's views on financial control in marriage. I don't know if you guys seen this video, but it's all the things that a lot of people are talking about. She recently reviewed that she didn't get a prenup. Is that really smart and prudent for a businesswoman, for a millionaire? But she said that her husband hands over all his money and can't spend a dime without her say so. So here's what we're going to do today, y'all. We are going to break down how money and power play a role in relationships, especially for Black women. Does money make you? That's what it sounds like. So whether that kind of control empowers or complicates a marriage, that's what we're going to check out. That's what we're going to explore today. But first, guess what I got? I got the most beautifulest, the most smartest, the most genuinest queens on the planet. First up, we got the We Wealth Warrior, queen of all things pop culture, Miss Athena Gardner. Next, we got Dr. Lene, who is a business coach and a strategist, but she's also a monetization. See, she ain't put that. See, I know she's a monetization. She helps you monetize your money. Y'all hear me? Y'all heard me. And then we have Laura Key. She is an international real estate agent. She will help you get property all over the world. And then last but certainly not least, Dr. Alicia, who is a therapist, a couple coach, and social work professor. She ain't just a low-level counselor. She's a therapist and she's a professor, y'all. Okay? So, listen. I seen this video the other day and I was like, what the hell? What women? I don't know if maybe some of you guys agree with this. I'm not quite sure, but I seen something that was just a little bit disturbing to my spirit. And I want to talk about it today. So let's roll that footage.
Good things come to those who wait.
I truly believe that.
All right. Did you get a prenup?
I didn't.
Why not?
Because my husband brings all of his money to me. So I'm in charge. He can't spend a dime without my consent. He can't spend a dime for nothing unless it goes through me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ringing up, that thing go to, I see everything.
That's what I'm talking about. So you always call me Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Davis, what's your Mrs.?
Mrs. Kears.
Mrs. Kears.
Yes.
Love it, Mrs. Kears.
All right. So I'm a woman of a certain age. Okay. I'm damn near 50 years old. And to me, now I might be on this by myself, but to me, it sounds like something maybe a 25-year-old would actually brag about. What do you think, Laura? What do you think about this whole conversation? You are a married woman. What do you think about this?
I am a married woman, and there are some things that you need to keep to yourself. And if there's one thing that I subscribe to, is I honor my husband and the fact that he is the man of our household. Never would I ever try to emasculate him in public eye. We have our own agreement, which is what we do in our own home, and it's private. But there is no way I'm going to put down my husband in any way, shape, or form. And to me, this attitude that she had was like, he can't do nothing. He can't even breathe. And so now this man has to walk out in the streets and he's going to have to face that ridicule. I think it was done really unprofessionally and quite ratchet. So it's not for me. I think it's going to cause a problem in their marriage, and not having a prenup, baby girl, I don't care how much money he brings home to you. That's not going to protect you.
The fact that I love that. The fact that Dennis Sprague said, is she an accountant? I don't know if that was a joke or if that was a true question, but that is Trina. She's the baddest bitch. And she is she's a rapper. So we just heard from a married woman. I'm going to go over to a single woman, and let's go with the We Wealth Warrior. What are your thoughts about this whole conversation?
Well, listen, I'm actually an accountant, so if Trina want to call me to help manage the family finances, she can. However, when I first saw this video, I didn't mind the arrangement of how, she being the main one to manage the finances, because I remember when I was previously engaged, he had expressed to me that he rather me manage the household finances or our finances because I'm a CPA and I'm better at it, right? So I don't think the arrangement is an issue. What I see though is, I guess the issue will be making that publicly known, because he could face this ridicule. And Trina is a bigger star. The assumption is that she is making more than him, even though she says he's in real estate or he's a real estate investor. We don't know. You know, Constance, you can say that there are investors that have $5 and investors that have 5 million, right? So that could be wherever. So I think her delivery is that it was not the best. I know Trina does have that persona of being, you know, the baddest bee. Obviously, I live from South Florida. Obviously, I grew up during that time. Everybody knows the Diamond Princess, okay? But personally, from watching her from Love and Hip Hop, she does have a softer side in her personal relationships. So I was actually surprised at her response.
So let me go back over to a married woman, a woman of a certain age. And then I'm also asking you, audience, what do y'all think? Do you think that this is something that a grown-ass woman should be saying? Dr. Alicia, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just really struck by the delivery of what she said. It's not like, oh, we sat down, we had a conversation, we talked about it. I'm the one that handles the finances. You know, we share with each other back and forth, a two-way street about when I spend money, we talk to each other about it. I see where he spends money. He sees where I spend money. It is the delivery. Oh, he doesn't spend a dime without it going through me. So it's almost like she's taking this parental role in the relationship where it's like it has to go through her for her approval for him to spend a dime. Yeah. And it just seems like she's taking on this mother role to her husband, who's supposed to be equal, who's supposed to have the same voice. Like, he can voice his opinion about how he wants to spend his money. And I don't understand, like, he hands over his money to me. It did not have the energy as if it was a collaborative approach to how they manage finances in their marriage.
Yeah. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Well, what do you think? I'm going to route it out to another single lady. What do you think, Dr. Lene?
I'm going to go with Athena with regards to, it's very old school. So there's nothing wrong with a man that brings home his money to his woman. I'm going to go with everyone that the delivery was messed up. Should have been said differently, or keep it to yourself. We don't need to know how you and your husband decided how you guys spend money. But this is how I will say, I was having this conversation yesterday. I was talking to a young man of a certain age, and he was like, and he changed my mind on it, which was, the delivery was wrong, but how about if? All she was saying was that as the woman or the person who is in control of the finances, before he makes a transaction or when he makes a transaction, she has to know about it because she's managing the finances. So don't spend a dime unless you let me know so we can make sure that our numbers are making sense. Our dollars are making sense. There's nothing wrong with that. Her delivery was horrible.
Girl, that's not what she said, though. That's not what she said. He can't spend a dime without.
She said he can't spend a dime. If you're managing the finances and so your husband go out and spend $100,000, you only have $90,000. He spent more than a dime. So you can't spend a dime without me.
He said his money. She didn't even say her money. She said he can't spend. He brings home all his money to me, and he can't spend it without my permission.
She didn't say he can't spend his money without her permission.
I think she did.
It comes across to me as, and I don't want to use the word financial abuse, but it came across as if he spends a dime and it didn't come through me, he's in trouble.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't matter.
The delivery was horrible. But we don't, that's the thing about social media. We get a clip. We have no idea how they got to where they got to. We have no idea what the dynamics are and what it truly means when she says that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to bet
the delivery is the problem. I mean, nobody wants to be looked like they are irresponsible. This is something that should have been kept quiet in their relationship. How you choose to do your money and your budget is nobody else's business. It was an girl that just really made it seem like the whole thing. He's not a little boy. He may be younger than her, but he's not a little boy. You should never do that to someone you love. Yeah. That's behind closed doors.
Let me tell you something. I told my son one day, I said, my son brought his little girlfriend home, and I said, if she disrespects you in front of other people are also going to disrespect you as well. So she, for me, disrespected him in front of the entire world. How many people are actually going to respect him as a man? I mean, what do you think about that? Do you feel like she, and I want to go back to you, Dr. Lene. Did she emasculate him?
Oh yeah, she did. Okay. I'm willing to make a $5 bet.
Okay.
I'm willing to make a $5 bet that within the next 5 days, she's going to do an interview and explain what she meant. I'm willing to make a $5 bet because media is going to run with it. They're going to emasculate him, and she's going to have to come out and say, well, what I meant was, or I'm now, if she doesn't, then we know. She doesn't come out and be like, what I meant to say was, or the clip was misconstrued, or that's not really what. If she doesn't come out and say that, then okay, she wear the pants.
Yeah. And then I want to go back to the Lala, the girl, yes, like, come on. What do you think?
There's nothing supportive about that. And it's okay to have girl power, and it's okay to, support women and women, but this is a different level. This is an intimate relationship. This is what happens behind closed doors. This is the person that you should be sharing your deepest, darkest fears and secrets with. This is the person that you should be able to say anything to and know that it's not going outside of your four walls. Now, I don't care if she comes out and apologizes and try to reclaim what she said. The damage has been done. And now this man is going to have to live with it. My $5 bet is, how much longer is it going to be before we see that they're going to have marital problems and that it's going to be a divorce? Because this is going to get in between them. I pray not, but because I don't wish that on anybody's marriage. But you emasculated him. You put him in his place in your mind, but he's still a man.
Yeah. And even though he's 35 and she's 45 or whatever, he's 33 or whatever, Dr. Alicia, I want to ask you this after the break. What is the recovery for someone who's not only been emasculated? Say you can emasculate somebody inside the house and they can only take so long, but you've emasculated him in front of the world. Then what does that do to him as a man and his psyche of going forward and trying to, live and be and be a husband to her? But let's go to break, and then let's talk about that when we get back, Dr. Alicia.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens. That's Queens. That's Queens to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Let me tell y'all right now. I'm going to tell y'all right god dang now. If y'all don't text the word Queens to 87948, it's going to be some consequences and repercussions. It's going to be some slow singing and some flower bringing if y'all don't text the word Queens to 87948. Okay? Please. All right, Dr. Alicia, what do you think?
Yeah, she was married before. Do we know that about her background? I've heard of us talking about it before.
Was she
married before?
The pop culture, or was she engaged?
Was she engaged or was she married?
She was engaged to a guy called Raymond.
Yeah, I'm real curious about the previous relationship. Were there any instances of financial infidelity in that relationship? Mm-hmm. Is she tied to a memory or an experience that was frightening for her related to money, so that she's going forward in this new relationship like, I'm not going to have this happen to me anymore. Everything has to go through me. It just makes me wonder what she's bringing into this marriage and her ideas and experiences related to some financial trauma. That's what she looks like to me. She looks like somebody frightened and afraid. and
I think it's the
needing to
industry.
have this control with money. It's so pressing. Like, she never even mentioned, there's a bunch of different aspects of a marriage, right? You have to manage money, you manage your time, you manage all of your resources, but she had such a strong reaction to money.
But
And
Alicia,
no, I didn't get a
Alicia,
prenup. Mhm.
I want to know, like, and I want to know about the emasculation of him. How does he recover from that? Because I understand from her point of view, and whatever her history is, but what about him? How does he recover from that?
Well, first of all, if you have a partner or a spouse who's coming at you with this energy, you really just need to say, okay, hold on. How did you come to this? Why is this? This comes across to me as something you feel strongly about. Tell me what's happening. I think that when you experience strong feelings in a certain area of your relationship, you need to stop and you need to say, there's something happening here. There's got to be a story. There's got to be something going on with you that you feel so strongly about this. And listen, you need to listen to your partner and hear what they have to say. And she will be able to tell the story. Definitely some unresolved issues surrounding money. It could be a story from her childhood. She could have grown up with a mother who had financial issues growing up, and it had an impact on her. And so she's going forward with this sort of issue. Yes, gambling problem, underground. I have had clients who had the wife who had a husband who had all these gambling issues. And she was like, I have to take the paychecks have to come to me because the lights are getting cut out and we can't pay the mortgage because you have a gambling addiction. And temporarily, while the guy was in treatment, we had to have this arrangement. So there needs to be some sort of story or scenario where you come to that conclusion. Maybe he's just like, you know what? Growing up, my grandfather handed over money to my grandmother growing up. I look up to my grandfather. I'm going to do the same in this marriage.
Dr. Alicia,
I'm going to hand it over.
She sunned him. She sunned him. And that's, to me, that's what it was. And he's like a little boy. But I'm going to ask you this, Athena. So she's a woman of a certain age. And I know how old are you, Athena? 30?
I'm 33, so I'm the same age as her husband, and she's 45.
Okay, so she's 45. So is it because maybe she waited so long to get married, and does she have kids? And maybe she's treating him like, because I'm telling you right now, if you start a relationship and you treat this man like a kid, he's going to be a kid, and it's going to be hard raising a grown ass man as a kid and treating him like a kid. That's not what you want. But what do you think in terms of like the age difference? Do you think it plays a role in the dynamic of how she's approaching this? Or is it because she just has the power, the popularity, the fame? What is it?
I think it's all of the above. So now, knowing Trina's dating history, right? So she's dated industry men. She was with French Montana. She was with different men, right? That were at her same level as far as fame, popularity, and those men were spoiling her, but necessarily didn't honor the relationship as far as fidelity was concerned, right? So I've noticed from then she kind of dated guys who were like regular guys, but I noticed those men were kind of submissive in those relationships where they catered to her more so, and obviously she maintained more of the power. So I think that's similar here, and that's also a trend that we see sometimes with famous celebrity or influencer women. Like after they date the athletes and the rappers, and those situations don't work out for whatever the reasons are, they tend to date younger. Think Drea and her boyfriend or whatever, right? But the issue is that what I was learning and understanding about how those two got together, her now husband, is she was the one who shoot her shot at him. She saw him come in and said, "Who is this guy? I want to make sure he has my number by the end of the night," type of thing. So it's definitely giving a lot of masculine energy, right?
The whole thing from the
whole setup.
Now,
a younger man, older woman, younger man dynamic, I tend not to like so much, because there's such a great imbalance of power, and the women tend to protect themselves, right? They tend to almost like baby the men, kind of like what we're seeing in this whole I pay all the bills and he can't run anything past me type situation. But the other aspect of that is, which I think you brought up, why didn't she just get a prenup? if that was just the major concern. Why didn't she just do that?
Let me ask you this, Dr. Lene, because I heard you say on one of your posts that you about to be a billionaire, right? You said that's the goal. I'm about to be a billionaire. So you're a woman of a certain age, haven't been married. Say that you do make it to billionaire status. So does she who have all the money, does she have all the power? Does she have all the control? How does that work in the dynamic of a relationship?
That is actually a really good question. I will tell you that even when I get to my $1 billion status, I want a man that is a man. So I don't think that she who has all the money has all the control. That's crazy. If that's the case, I should be by myself. I tell men, even today, right now, when I got this PhD, my girlfriends was like, not just my girlfriends, people were like, you're going to be undateable. Nobody's going to want to date you now because you're a doctor and you're controlling and have all the power. I'll tell you that when I got this PhD, ninjas was coming out the woodworks. Like, it was attractive, right? And so the caliber of man that I date, yeah, it has gone up, but I still want a man that can be a man. I wear my CEO hat during the day, but when I leave the office, I put my girl hat on. I want to be feminine. I want to be taken care of like everybody else. Just because you make the money, operate at a high level, you're high performing, you do all the things, you still want to be treated like a lady. You still want to be a woman. You still want somebody to take care of you. And one of the things that I find that men miss or women misunderstand, I don't know what it is that when you are a high performing woman or you make a certain kind of money, the provider piece is not necessarily what I'm looking for financially per se. I do want to be provided for, loved, cared for. It's hard making the money that we make, showing up how we show up, support, talk to me, rub my feet, listen to me, take me out, those types of things. It's not the same when you are in reverse, but there is a way to take care of a woman that makes the money where you still get to be the man.
That's very interesting. That is very interesting. So when a woman makes more money, she doesn't necessarily have the power. However, her needs change as what type of support she needs.
What type of provision? What types of provision? How you provide for her might be different.
I like that. Okay, that is actually a good point. Lala, let me ask you this because you're married. And I don't know the dynamic of your relationship with your husband. I don't know who makes more, who makes less or whatever, but how does it, like for you in your household, say you made more, do you think your husband, would it be intimidated by the fact that you made more? Or would you, how would that work? Would he be, do you look at it as just both of yours as one, or do you divide it up?
It's our household. It is our household. If one needs, the other doesn't have, then we provide. It is an equal yoked relationship. I have made more and we both have had ramen and so we've gone through the whole cycle, but the whole cycle still was a part of our relationship that it really draws you closer. When you're eating that half a ramen noodle packet, then you're sharing what you have at that time with your spouse. And let me tell you something, there is something about when my husband steps up and says, if I think I'm going off I'm going to go do this, and I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. Then I'm like, okay, because he's still the man of the household. His word is sacred to me. Now, he's not one who's always trying to, you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't. But if he sees that something is not balanced and he knows that he could possibly cause harm to me or to us, whether it's a relationship, whether it's money, whether someone's trying to fool me into something that I don't see because I'm empath and I want to help everybody. And he'll gently say, not that one, baby, not that one. And I have learned to say, okay, because I trust his judgment. Yeah. And that is what is important. And that's what people don't understand. Marriage is not who's better, who's not. It is an equally yoked thing. And you have to work at it. Because it's not like you just get married and all of a sudden everything is perfect. You have your ups, you have your downs, but knowing that you have that partner who is going the same path as you and you're communicating and you have this understanding, that makes all the difference in the world. I will never say anything against my husband in public or behind closed doors. I always check my words before I speak.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's important. That's how you build a strong, solid, foundational marriage. But Dr. Alicia, because she possesses so much masculine energy, she shot her shot at dude. She's running the show. And us as women, I don't care. There's still some basic needs that we have, right? A woman needs to be, we need to feel secure. We need to feel loved. We need to feel protected. How can he be that if she's emasculating him? How can he be that protector and that provider if she's sunning him, if she's little boying him?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be really tough. I think, I don't know the details of why and how she came out so strongly about those comments about what's happening in their particular situation. And I would hope that if he saw that video, that the two of them had a really good conversation about how they want their marriage to operate. And his input into how their marriage operates is just as important as hers. So I would hate for it to be where it's just her way or the highway. I mean, that's not healthy. And so I feel sorry. And I wonder what his family thinks, hearing those types of messages. And I love what Lala has to say. I mean, even in my marriage, we have a dollar amount that we've agreed upon. Like, you can spend up to this amount of money and you don't have to tell me anything about it. Like, it's okay. But, Dr. Boyce and I, it's just like, if you're making certain ticket prices, if you want to purchase something and it's a certain amount of money, you need to let each other know what's going on and talk to each other first about it, because we have to plan money. And, like, even Boyce, like, he just gives me money every month and then I just pay the bills with it, so, but it's not like he just doesn't have time to deal with that kind of thing. So I actually pay the bills, but we really put our money together every month to do that. So, I mean, it works for both of us. We're able to, talk to each other. I have access to his accounts. He has access to my accounts. It's very, it's transparent. There's no need to hide anything. So, and we had to talk and work and trust each other. I mean, think about the trust that you have to let somebody into your checking account. You trust that person just isn't going to take it and go. And I'm wondering, in their situation, does he have access to her checking account? If not, again, that power imbalance is not there. I'm not certain if he's agreeable to this. And if he's not agreeable to it, in healthy relationships, they need to have a conversation and come up with an arrangement that is comfortable for both of them.
Yeah. Well, after this break, I want to ask you, Athena, can you turn a hoe into a housewife?
They be trying.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says? Check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
Athena, can you turn a hoe? Because I seen that in the comments. Somebody said in the comments, like, his problem was he tried to make a garden tool and, he married a garden tool. So can people change? Can you turn a hoe? Because listen, let's go back. Trina built her whole career off of being the baddest bitch, off of talking about sex, about being very promiscuous, showing her body, that persona of her being this sexual being, a hoe. So can a person is this life imitating art? Is this really her? Like, can you really make this person into a real wife that's going to be a submissive, that's going to actually, do wifely things? Because I think this comment actually shows that this is kind of who she really is.
Well, I think that the baddest bee is a persona for Trina. Watching her in certain episodes, you can tell she's like kind of the opposite, right? But this is normal for people in that industry. Dancehall artist Spy, she talks explicitly about sex, and she's very, actually, in her personal life, very conservative about that. Cardi B, when she came out with WAP, she said she ain't cooking, she ain't cleaning, she ain't doing none of that. And you see videos of her at home cooking, cleaning, and mopping and sweeping the floor. So this is the issue with the music, because these girls are rapping about lives that they don't actually live. They don't actually do those things in their personal life. So, but to answer the question, can you tell a hoe and a housewife? Listen, I think so. And I think a lot of men don't have a problem wifing a hoe, because I've been to several weddings of several women who, had histories, and the men were happy and fine to do so. So as long as a man really like you, he will rose-colored glass, look over all kind of pasts, okay, in order to put a ring on your finger. As a matter of fact, the girls who are good at home, like myself, be single for longer. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Somebody called us haters. But I'm gonna ask you this, Dr. Lene. Can you turn a hoe to a housewife?
Our producer said a hoe is good as a wife.
A hoe is good as
This is what I was gonna say. Somebody's trash is somebody else's treasure. And when right now we're talking about Trina, but it goes both ways. Somebody's husband was out there helping too. So we not just me personally, I'm not just talking about women, because there's a lot of people out there that was living loose in their young life and grew up and decided to settle down. So can it be? Yes. The majority of us have some type of a past, lived our life some kind of a way. We didn't have social media back in those days, and we're not celebrities and famous, so our stuff wasn't out in the streets. But be for real, most folks was running fast and reckless, got their life together, grew up, got it together, and showed up correctly. So yes, you absolutely can turn a hoe into a housewife if they want to be a housewife, because the same is true for any regular person that don't want to act right in their marriage. What I want to say about this is, I think as we're talking about this, if I were Trina, first of all, $6 million is not a lot of money. Let's start there. $6 million is not a lot of money, so you should protect it with your life. But also, if you're looking around at the industry, I'm not even talking about age and the fact that she just shook mama and the dude is younger, but just looking around at the industry and how people's money is being taken advantage of. First, I would have did a prenup. That's the first thing. I would have done a prenup. But if you're not, to what Dr. Alicia was saying, I don't necessarily know if it's her trauma, but definitely just looking around the industry, the trauma that's tied to the industry, how people look what Mary J. Blige's husband just did. Like, there's the industry that she's in says, I need to protect myself. Fat Joe, I think he says he signs all his checks. Like, the industry that they're in says, I need to protect myself. I need to protect my money. And she doesn't have a lot of money. So I think that is a piece of it. But also, yes, you could turn a hoe into a housewife.
But was it very prudent for her not to sign that prenup? Because you could tell, like, even with her going into this situation where she didn't sign the prenup, that's not very wise, because anything can happen and he can come back and take the little $6 million that she has. And really what you're saying is correct, because $6 million, especially depending on your lifestyle. I mean, if you got a lot going out, $6 million could be spent up in a year, in 2 years.
But so, Constance, you are a woman who is a boss, right? Mm-hmm. And you got divorced, right? Moving on.
I lost $1 million too.
All right. So moving on into a new situation though, would you be like Trina? Would you be like, okay, I need to get his money and make sure everything goes through? Or would you just prenup him and call him a day? Like, what would you do in this situation?
I would get a prenup. So I look at it as, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. I'm almost damn near 50. So we hopefully we both have built some things up, right? I'd have a prenup, and then like whatever we build together, it will be ours and we would split it. But whatever I had prior to, or whatever he's had prior to, that goes to my kids. And if he has kids, that goes to his kids. And then if we build some things together, but I'm not trying to build a Negro. I'm not trying to, have nobody that doesn't have anything, that doesn't come to the table with anything. I definitely would definitely have a prenup. But I do want to show the video again, because for the people who are just logging on and they don't quite know what we're talking about, let's take a look at this video about Miss Trina, the baddest bitch, and what she had to say about running her money, how she does a finance.
Good things come to those who wait.
I truly believe that.
All right. Did you get a prenup?
I didn't.
Why not?
Because my husband brings all of his money to me. So I'm in charge. He can't spend a dime without my consent. Can't spend a dime for nothing unless it goes through me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ringing up, that thing go to, I see everything.
That's what I'm talking about. So you always call me Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Davis, what's your Mrs.?
Mrs. Kears.
Mrs. Kears. Yes. Love it, Mrs. Kears.
She said she didn't get a prenup because her husband brings all his money to her. But what about her money? Why isn't she protecting her money? Who wants to answer that? Why isn't she protecting her money? Why is she so concerned about his? She's the one with the why we don't know what he does, but why isn't she protecting her money?
We have too many shows where we talk about people and prenups and people getting everybody's money and, spousal support. Look at Wendy Williams. We talked about that just a few weeks ago. Okay. So, and we all know that he was for the streets and everybody keeps saying she married the wrong one and blah, blah, blah. I don't care how comfortable you feel when bitter feelings and emotions come into the situation. When that enters in, you are in danger, Will Robinson, danger. Sign the prenup. There's nothing wrong with that. And if they have a problem with that, then you might need to be rethinking about who you're marrying. And I want to know what the conversation was after your girl went home and this got aired, because I know that man could not have been like, that was okay, baby. No, I can hear him say, what? This is a problem.
Somebody said if he was henpecked, that he was henpecked. Some people say that, he living a good life. Maybe he's just chilling and he doesn't have a problem. But I don't know any man in the world that wants to be emasculated internationally, But Dr. Lene, because you're about to be a billionaire, would you get a prenup?
I would get a prenup. So let me say this, because as right as I said it, I was like, ugh. So I've talked to somebody that I'm seeing right now about prenup because they make more money than me, but I would still want to get a prenup. And he was like, what do we need a prenup for? We don't necessarily need a prenup. And so we've been kind of talking these things through, because one of the things that I feel is I believe that prenups are about protection. People don't like to talk about it because they say if you're talking about a prenup, then you're talking about what if it doesn't work. And so people don't want to talk about, well, what if it doesn't work? But I also feel like talk about it while you love each other. Like right now, while we love each other, let's talk about, should something not work out? How do you want to be protected? How should I be protected? Let's just put that in writing, because what happens is when things go bad, we are angry, we are fighting, we're going at each other. The love is gone. We just want to hurt each other. So have these types of conversations in the prenup and whatnot while you love each other, while you still want to protect each other, so that if it does go sour, you're protected. So to answer your direct question, I think so, but I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. If the person is with me today, right now, as I'm working towards my billion, probably not, because they will be a part of the growth, right? But if I'm already like halfway to it, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Well, Athena, so I know the type of woman you are. I know you are the We Wealth Warrior, but I know you also the type of men that you like, because you said you're not a looks girl. So you like men who have a little something in their pockets. So go approaching it. And then you also said, I think I recall you saying, is that the man that you want should have more than you. So would you go into that marriage wanting a prenup? Wouldn't you want to protect yourself if this man has more than you? Like, how would you approach that?
How would I approach this? This is actually things that I've actually had to think through in my dating. So if in this scenario, well, he will have more than me. I'm just putting that out in the universe. But in that scenario, if he felt like he needed a prenup to feel comfortable with getting married, I would have no problem with that. My goal is not to take everything somebody has, right? But it needs to be reasonable. Now, if the prenup says I don't get anything and I'm destitute after my years, my time, my whatever children we have, all this other stuff, I would not sign that. And if someone does present a prenup to you, I would actually let them go through with one and read what's in there, because that is also a symbol and indication of how you think and feel about me and value me. So if you put it on there that I'm going to be destitute after we together, then I know this is not a man who has the character that I want. Now, for me, it's whatever we decide together as a couple. Now, if I have other assets like my business and other things, you can also put stuff that you want in there as well. It's not a one-way street. I just feel like you just come to a conclusion on how things need to operate beforehand. So if someone needed a prenup to feel safe to take that step with me, I have no issue. I'm not trying to I've already been through a process with dating, especially dating rich men. Like I'm not trying to rob you blind. That's not my goal. Now, if it was my goal, I might have an issue with it, but that's not my goal.
Yeah. I want to ask Laura and Dr. Alicia, because you guys are both married. Do you think that a woman who is established, who has something going on, and she gets married, do you think it's wise for her to have a prenup? A woman like Trina, do you think, and I'm not saying Trina, exactly, but like a woman who maybe she may go into something that has a little bit more than him, do you think it's wise for her to get a prenup? I'll start with you, Laura, and then Dr.
Yes,
Alicia.
I think it's just smart business. And let's face it, marriage is also a business. It's much deeper than that, but it is a business. If you have that in mind, if you have a lot of properties, listen, I know a lot of women that have multiple properties across the board. And when they did get married, they didn't get that prenup. And then when something went wrong, those men in the 50-50 states, they had to sell all those properties. So you need to have this understanding before you put that I do in there. And it needs to be written and recorded on what you should do. A prenup is absolutely a must in this day and age. Listen, you can tell somebody you love them all you want to, but if something happens and those emotions change, the whole world could come crumbling down around you.
Yeah, agreed. Dr. Alicia, I'm going to ask you this, but also let me frame it like this. So a woman who's 23 and a woman who's 43, is there a difference in how they approach whether they get a prenup or not? And then we'll get photographic.
I think it does make a difference where you are. I know when I first got married, my first marriage, there's no way I would sign a prenup. Like I would have been like, what do you mean you don't trust me? What's happening? You don't trust that my word is bond. Like you don't trust that I'm not going to take your money. Like, first of all, my first husband, we didn't have that much money to begin with. He made more money than I did, but I'm like, no, that's not the case. And then once you start having kids, I'm just like, no, forget it. We're not doing a prenuptial agreement. And I was happy with that. But now that I have children and I enter into another marriage, I'm looking at it differently. So it's like, I want to be able to protect my children. My husband has a business. I'm like, you need to be able to protect your business because we've spent all this time working and building something. Remember, a prenuptial agreement, all it is having an agreement in place, a formal agreement in place on what would happen if the relationship ends. That's what it's about. It's not about what happens during the marriage, it's what happens if the relationship ends. Like what are in case something happens, right? So if someone passes away, you got to think about stepchildren. You got to think about all of these things that you have built up and relationships that you have established along your life. So if you're older and more mature and you've accumulated something, you built a multi-million-dollar business, you have, a lot to lose. Yeah, it makes sense, that you want to make sure everybody's taken care of and that one person doesn't snatch your money away. And so that makes sense. So it all depends on your circumstance, on your situations. Typically, the person who makes the most money is the person who approaches the other partner about a prenuptial agreement.
Right.
It's a sensitive topic. It's about trust. It's like, why don't you trust me? What's
and then speaking of sensitive topic, I'm gonna ask you, and we'll go to the graphics a bit. I'm gonna ask you, Dr. Lene. So, okay, you a billionaire. Let's role play. I'm your man. How you gonna approach that conversation with me?
First of all, I'm going to assume that he already knows I want it. But even if he didn't, I
we
would say,
don't know. We don't know.
If I'm a billionaire and you a millionaire, we would be having this conversation. But I would basically just approach it as, let's make sure that we're both protected. I want to make sure that everything that you came into the relationship with is yours. Everything that came into the relationship, we came into the relationship is my son's, and that everything that we build from this day going forward, we share, we split.
I like it. Would you be doing that in the bed, pillow talk, or would you be doing that over lunch? Like, how would you?
Probably. Listen, pillow talk is always the best place to have these types of conversations. I mean, the pillow talk is the best place to have any kind of conversation, right? Because the boundaries are lower. You're vulnerable. It's easy to, hey, babe, you know what we talk about? You know what I'm saying? It's easier. It's always easier there. But to be honest with you, it's a conversation I would be having way before the marriage talk.
Yeah.
Like I would already have put that out there. I wouldn't
Right.
wait till the last second to talk about it. It would be something, because we should be having these financial conversations during the dating process anyways.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wait till the last second.
And I think that's because you hear about all these celebrities that they're negotiating, the prenup at the 23rd hour right before the wedding. And, the wedding is being held up because they're trying to figure out the prenup because, they've just kind of thrown that on them. But, I do want to look at some of the slides because there was some comments about the whole idea of this video. People said, why is this worth bragging about? That wasn't a very smart decision, but best of luck. This is how grandma and granddad did. And I think that's the direction you were coming from, Dr. Lene, but mama managing money. I don't agree with her delivery, but maybe that's the delivery. I mean, that's the direction you were coming from, Dr. Lene. But maybe financial management isn't a strength of his, doesn't mean he isn't a provider, just a thought. Well, if he's supposedly a millionaire, then he should know how to manage his own money, right? That's what I would think. Do you think that's how she was thinking? Because maybe but I mean, if the man was living long enough, he know how to take care of himself. How you gonna sweep in? And I'm 35 years old, and maybe you could speak to this, Athena, because obviously you're the same age as this young man. You've been out of college for a minute. You're taking care of yourself. Now somebody gonna come in and say, this what you got to do with your money. Like, how does he not know how to manage his money? I mean, he's been living this long. What do you think?
Well, I'm different because, I'm a CPA and stuff, but looking at men, so I have brothers in my age group and older. I'm not surprised where a lot of women are the ones who are in charge of the finances within a relationship or household. Some men, unfortunately, have very reckless spending habits. We don't know the spending habits and patterns of this man. He might be the one to say, you know what, honey? I might make this money off of real estate flip since he's supposedly a real estate investor and blow it on a chain or blow it on whatever. Maybe you should be the one in charge of the finances to help, mitigate that situation. Some men don't want to think about it. Like I said before, when I was previously engaged, he said he didn't really want to think about it. He just wanted to give me his money and we just figure out whatever. But regardless of what the situation is or how the setup is, I do believe in transparency between both parties. I do believe that we, as a couple, we need to know what each other is doing and where their accounts are. Like, I would not feel comfortable you having some side account where all your side chicks and your heifers and your hoes and whoever, being tricked off, in other towns. So I do believe that there needs to be some kind of transparency.
Yeah, Aaron said he looked like he got about $40 a split. All right, we'll be right back.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
Now, Deborah Will Win said, well, maybe she's taking the Keyshia Ka'oir approach. Let's look at the video one more time because I do want to address that because I didn't even know who that was at first because I didn't really look at it. But let's look at the video one more time and let's kind of peel back that approach, that idea as well.
Good things come to those who wait.
I truly believe that.
All right. Did you get a prenup?
I didn't.
Why not?
Because my husband brings all of his money to me. So I'm in charge. He can't spend a dime without my consent. He can't spend a dime for nothing unless it goes through me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ringing up, that thing go to, I see everything.
That's what I'm talking about. So you always call me Mrs. Davis. Mrs. Davis, what's your Mrs.?
Mrs. Kears.
Mrs. Kears.
Yes.
Love it, Mrs. Kears.
So Keyshia Ka'oir is Gucci Mane's wife. So Gucci Mane did a stint in prison, and he left her how many millions of dollars? And she took that money and she
And she
flipped
flipped
it
it. Hmm.
and made more money.
And I love Keyshia because she's a Jamaican girl. You know, I love my little Jamaican queens, and she did at least double his money that he gave her. So I think he gave her like 6 million or a couple million, whatever, and she flipped it. So
Yeah.
sometimes it works out. You know, it depends on your partner. It depends on the type of partner that you have.
Yeah. So what do you think of no, Lala? No.
I'm sitting here shaking my head at this part. This is the part that drives me absolutely mad. Not the ow and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden they go back into this conversation. But you're always calling me Mrs. And what's your Mrs.? Well, your Mrs. is pretty bad because you just emasculated your man. And if you know you're so proud to be a wife, you should never want to do that to your partner. And so you just contradicted yourself. This man, we don't know what their agreement was. Look, there's a lot of people saying in the comments, there's nothing wrong with bringing your money home to your partner. There isn't anything wrong with it. But how she is presenting this to the world is contradictory and it's wrong. What is she? The mama, the wife, the financial go? You can be all that, but you don't have to put someone down to be that. And that's my whole problem with this. I don't care how they decided to do their money. You don't do this to your honey.
It really seems so disrespectful because she's like, he can't do anything without my consent. What is that? You're supposed to, like, if the roles were reversed and if some man was on stage talking about my wife has to bring all her money to me and she can't spend it on anything without my consent, it has to go through me first. It's like, hello, the 50s have called. They want you to get back their marriage. Like, it's just not healthy. It just seems very disrespectful. It seems very dismissive of what he may want. A marriage should support your individual goals. A marriage should support the goals of the couples together. And everybody's thoughts and opinions on money and other aspects of running a marriage is just as important. So you can't just dismiss each other like that. It's very unhealthy.
Yeah, it's very dismissive tone, right? Dr. Lene, somebody said, did she not learn anything from Mary J. Blige? And did Mary J. Blige even have a prenup? Because that would have been dumb if she didn't. But the fact that this man not only took her for a whole lot, then came back, and then Wendy Williams, her man is still trying to come back and get more money, you know, and they kind of started, no, she actually was established. So did she not learn anything from these two women who had to pay these raggedy ass ninjas all this money just to get a little D for a few years?
I think we see it. Excuse me. We see more men thinking about prenups and protecting their assets than we do women. I do not believe, I could be wrong, I do not believe that Mary had a prenup. Trina doesn't have a prenup. Men in our society are more thought about around prenups than women show up saying, hey, I want a prenup. I mean, and even that's a conversation. Why is that? Why wouldn't a woman show up and say, I want to protect my stuff? Why do we only expect and see that men do it? I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. But I hope that she did. Yeah. I think that she went about it the wrong way because just because he brings, like we said, just because he brings you your money doesn't protect you if something goes wrong. That's not protection. So I wanted to, I'm discombobulated because there's this comment in here from Rachel Richardson about talking about a Black woman and calling her a hoe. First of all, we did not call her a hoe. We were answering a question from somebody else in the comments in the chat. But second, how you represent yourself in the public, the music that you speak, the way that you show up, people will sometimes make assumptions about you, right? And or all Black women for that matter. And it's a conversation that we have in the community. It's a conversation we have in the community based on people's history and past. Can you take who you used to be and become somebody better? So it makes perfect sense to talk about it. Plus, there's some hoes out there wondering, am I going to be better? We want to answer that for them. Yes, boo, you can grow up and be better, and you can make somebody your wife.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry. All right, sorry. So let me ask you guys this. What can we learn as women? We are women of a certain I don't want to say affluence, but we're all very successful women. How do each of you, and I know two of you are married, three of us aren't at this juncture in our lives. I've been married, two of you haven't. So it's kind of even, huh? Two married, one been married, two aren't married. But how do you protect yourself going forward when you come to the table with something? I know we talked about prenup, but like, how do you keep from like getting into these issues where maybe there's financial abuse or finances is a reason for contention in your marriage? Like, how do you safeguard yourself, Dr. Alicia, from this sort of financial abuse or financial issues in your marriage?
Yeah, I mean, well, part of being married is you have to sit down and have a regular conversation about money in your marriage. Before you get married, before you even think about getting married, have a conversation with your partner about your plan together, potential plan together financially. How are you going to handle income, money coming into the house? How are you going to handle expenses, which is money leaving the house? Checking accounts. Who's going to have a checking account? Are we going to have separate checking accounts and then one that we share together? How are you going to save your money? What are you looking at for retirement? What expenses look like? All of these things need to be talked about and sorted through and agreed upon. And if there's any conflict, sometimes maybe you have to get a third person involved to help mediate what's going on. The beauty of it is that I'd love to see when you and your partner have an agreed plan and you trust each other to come through for each other. It's beautiful. You feel so connected to that person. You got shared goals. Like, we have a goal of, whatever, going on a big vacation or buying a house or buying a car, and to be working together for that goal. It's a beautiful bonding experience for two people to know I'm not on my own. I got someone else looking out for me, and I know that I'm looking out for someone else. It's it makes you feel safe and secure. And that's the purpose of having these conversations, feeling safe and secure in the relationship. And according to my mama, she says if a man give you money, he really loves you. That's how you know he loves you.
Listen, Mama was giving you great advice. What age were you when she
Look at this
told
one
you
right
that?
here. Look at this one right here.
What age were you when she told you that? 5.
She told me this she tells me this all the time. She was like, if you want to know if a man loves you or not, he will give you his money. That's
Men
her
in the chat. Y'all
school
listening?
beliefs.
Men in the chat.
Okay. So Athena, being a CPA, how do we, as women of a certain professional level, safeguard ourselves when it comes to relationships, marriage, how we move, what we do?
Well, what I want to point out to us first is that we need to safeguard our hearts first. We need to make sure that the people we engage in relationships have really high character. And that is something I've always told women, regardless of his financial status. His character is going to determine a lot during the relationship and after the relationship, should you guys depart.
I love that you said that, because she said in that article, what she said, I am obsessed with him.
She's obsessed with him. Maybe she's hypnotized. I also picked that up. I was like, maybe
I don't want to be upset. I don't want to be that in love with nobody. I don't want to be that obsessed with nobody. I'm good. Just give me the balance.
But the other thing too is with prenups aren't 100% foolproof, and that's why I said a character is going to be important. Mary J. Blige had a prenup, and Ken still made off $30,000 a month. Okay, so just because there's a ways to contest and argue and throw out a prenup, and even with Trina's situation right now, he can even argue, should they depart? Well, she controlled all the finances. I had very little financial power, so she needs to take care of me. So she's actually creating more of a case for that down the line. Outside of having a prenuptial or postnup. So listen, if you don't have it before marriage, I have married mentors who have actually had a prenup and then renegotiated 2 postnups afterwards, right?
Really?
Every time he did something he wasn't supposed to do, she got it down on paper, honey. So that's how she did that. So that's also another thing you can do. But also, like you always talk about, Constance, estate planning as well. Making sure that certain assets are within trust and estates, so protected even throughout a divorce. So there are different methods. Obviously, with the law, which I should have went to law school, there's certain ways to maneuver around that, but you want to put your best foot forward. But first thing first would be the character of that person.
Yeah. You know, she said she was addicted to him. She is addicted. And I said, I don't want to
That's key word for stigmatized to me.
Yeah, addicted. I don't want to be
I'm sorry. Those are not words that signals a healthy relationship.
That part,
addicted
right?
to somebody. It just sounds like a little codependent. And
yeah,
I don't want
to be addicted to nobody.
No.
Laura, how do you safeguard how does us single women safeguard ourselves?
You need to not be afraid to have these conversations. Don't get so mesmerized. And see, here's the thing. Most people are not putting the priorities in the right place. Everybody wants the big white wedding. Everybody wants the big old ring. Everybody wants to be the center of attention for these weddings, when that is a blink of an eye. What should be more important and longer lasting is what you have between you and your partner. So if you're not afraid to sit back and talk about this lavish Cinderella wedding, you shouldn't be having a problem talking to your partner about how are you going to handle your finances? How are you going to handle the budget? Who will handle what? What happens if something happens between us where we have to separate? Or, you need to have those tough conversations. It's more than just laying down and stroking each other's egos. You have to make sure that you love yourself enough to protect yourself, because you can't do anything for anybody else if you don't take care of you first. Have those hard conversations.
Amen. So from a PhD perspective, Dr. Lene, what can we do to safeguard ourselves?
I think literally it's going to come down to communication. Being vulnerable. I think it's like an oxymoron. How can I protect myself? Be vulnerable. Like, say what you really want, what you really think, how you really feel, how you really want it to go. Because I think how you go into it, a lot of times the things that we're insecure about or the things that we fear, we perpetuate them because we don't say them. So our actions and the choices that we make and the things that we do ultimately bring about the thing that we're afraid of, because the energy we take into it. But I think if you're honest and you communicate and you say, hey, this is what it is, or this is what I would like to do, or I do right now a lot of, well, what do you think about this? Well, what if this happens? How would you react? And that's how I open up the door to have some of these deeper conversations. Well, what if this, that, and that other? How do you feel about a prenup? Have those conversations, because they will tell you things. What Athena was talking about with Mary J. Blige, they signed the prenup 2 days before the wedding. How come we're not having this conversation? Why is it 2 days before the wedding? That means her lawyers didn't get a good chance to look through that, so that when they divorced and he got $30,000, the prenup said neither one of them gets anything, and yet he got $30,000 a month. There was no conversation. Nobody reviewed it. She was not protected. That shouldn't have played out like that.
That's because she was addicted. So let's go ahead and wrap. Anytime I can get a chance to be inappropriate, I will. Let's do final thoughts. Dr. Alicia, we're going to start with you.
Final thoughts. I never talked about shame. I think when it comes to money, a lot of people feel ashamed about their money history. And I think that if you're entering into a relationship or you have a long-term relationship with someone, you do need to have some questions about their financial history. You need to know what life has been like. What is their relationship with money as they have a relationship with you? And you need to listen for areas where they feel ashamed. A lot of people feel ashamed about debt. A lot of people feel ashamed about maybe filing for bankruptcy in the past. A lot of people are ashamed about their credit scores, all of these things. We also talked about safeguarding ourselves. I mean, you want to get married to and have a relationship with somebody who's trustworthy. Are they honest in their communication? Not just with money, but with everything, every part of their life. You want someone who's open and honest and transparent, so that you can establish trust. So you want to be with someone trustworthy. And if they're trustworthy, then you're going to be able to trust them with finances. I wish Trina and her husband the best of luck. I hope that they learn and grow with each other. But I think if anybody is having an issue with finances in your relationship, which I think is probably extension of some other issues in your relationship, you can reach me at coachingwithdralicia.com. I work with couples and individuals. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go with you, Lala. What do you think, darling?
Well, I think you should, like I said, love yourself first and understand what your financial goals are, and also to understand what fears you have moving forward before getting in a relationship. Now, if you're already in a relationship and you haven't had this conversation, it's still not too late. You do need to finally come to the table and talk about how things should be handled. And maybe the things that you're currently doing aren't working. So now you can come up with a solution with your partner. And there's never a wrong time to talk about your finances. It's a part of a healthy relationship. And you can find me at bit.ly/Laura Key Info. Hot off the presses, I actually have a budget Money Matters freebie for you. So if you go to that link, you'll be able to download that for free.
Nice job. I love it. Okay, what about the We Wealth Warrior, who is all things pop culture? What you got to say? What are your final thoughts, baby?
All right, so final thoughts are this. Okay, character is going to be the most important thing that you evaluate first with a person in order to financially protect yourself. And then after that, do what makes sense for your relationship between you two. But there needs to be a level of honesty and transparency. Now, ladies, we have seen what Trina has decided to do, honey. But if you want some expert advice on how you should manage your finances with your relationship, you can go to my website at wewealthwomen.com and check out the Goddess Guide to Money course, New Year, New Wealth. And I also have an upcoming event, the Wealthy Woman Shift. So if you are concerned about how to not only financially protect yourself as a woman, grow your wealth, but also evaluate that with a partner, those are the offerings that I have for you. My name is Athena Gardner. I'm a CPA and founder of We Wealth Women, where I help women confidently manage their finances to live their best goddess life.
Wonderful. Okay, Dr. Lene, we're going to round it off with you. What's your final thoughts?
So my final thought is, in order to protect yourself, your heart, your relationship, and your money, keep your mouth shut. Keep it to yourself. Everybody doesn't need to know your business. What you do in your own home and in your own relationship, that's your business. Once you start letting other people dictate, talk about, give advice, share about what you have going on in your home, you open it to start questioning your own thoughts, your own ideas, your own processes. You start taking on other people's energy. Whatever is going on in their house and however it is that it comes about, it is not anybody else's business. But now that they've opened it up, they have to be on the defense. And that is definitely could potentially lead to some problems. So love yourself enough to keep your relationship between you and that person so that you can grow, be able to communicate, and be vulnerable. That being said, I'm Dr. Lene Javette. You can find me online on all social medias at I am Dr. Lene Javette. If you need a strategy to make enough money that somebody can take it from you, call me. I can help you make more money. I'm a monetization strategist. I help most entrepreneurs triple their revenue by creating strategies that help you to expand your expertise.
I love it. You know, I think that was a very immature conversation. Two grown-ass women of a certain age in their 30s and 40s giving each other a high five about running and controlling money. Money does not make you, sweetheart. Let me say it one more time. Money does not make you. She who has the money does not necessarily have the power, because what happens when it all goes away, or if it all goes away? Does that mean that you lack who you are? If that money made you, does that mean that you're no longer the person that you thought you were when you had it? I think people put too much stock in money, and it's unfortunate. And in this day and age where you have Black women who are the most educated, we're making money, we're making more money than our male counterparts in these days. And they said, I think Athena has said on many occasions, only 6% of the population actually makes more than six figures. So that's actually a very low bar, right? So it's going to be likely that a lot of us are going to make more than our counterparts. So just because we make more doesn't mean that we have to have control. We still need to operate in our feminine energy. We still need to allow a man to be a man. We need to allow a man to lead, guide, direct. And I love what Dr. Lene said about his provision may change a little bit, but the fact that we need you and the fact that that money is just a means to an end. It's not the power. And I think that's what we need to get in our head, is that we put so much stock in money and less stock in who we are as individuals and what makes us just genuinely good people. We need to go back to that, relying on what makes us genuinely good people. And so that's what I say. The money, the power, that don't make you. And we got to stop subscribing to that idea that money is everything, because it's not. Who am I? I'm Constance Carter. You can find me anywhere on I Am Constance Carter. But I do want to tell you this before we get up out of here. Let me tell you this. Make sure every day we're going to log on every day at the same time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And before we come live, text the word Queens to 87948 so you can get a notification of when we're going to come live. Okay. Also, I'm leaving out tomorrow. In fact, y'all, I can't be on tomorrow. I gotta tell our producer I can't be on tomorrow. I was supposed to be on leading tomorrow, but I can't because I'm taking a plane over to Chi-Town, and I will be leaving at 1 o'clock at the same time that we come on here, because I'm going to be at the All Black National Convention. I'm gonna say it one more again: the All Black National Convention, or at least 4 of us out of the 5. Laura is all the way over in where you at? Where you at, Laura?
Portugal.
In Portugal. So she ain't going to be able to make it this time. But we want to see you. Me, Dr. Alicia, Dr. Lene, Athena, we all want to see you there. And I think there's just a few tickets left, right, Dr. Alicia?
I think there's like 5.
Like 5 tickets left?
Yeah, I got a text message that it was really almost sold out. I know there's no more VIP. There's no more tickets to the ball. So the tickets are dwindling down. I think it's just general admission at this point. Yeah, that's the time.
Y'all better hurry up.
So it's just a few tickets left.
Yeah.
And we want to see you, if you're in or around the Chi-Town, the Chicago area, if you can get there at the last minute, you guys go to allblacknationalconvention.com and get your tickets, because we gonna be there. And I think we might actually be broadcasting the show from there. It's a possibility, maybe on Thursday, maybe on Friday. I don't know. We might do a little something in person. That should be real fun. But make sure you get your tickets to the All Black National Convention, because we want to see you there. This one right here gonna be talking about AI. Dr. Alicia, what you gonna be talking about?
I'm going to talk about whatever my husband wants me to talk about.
That's a good wife. That's such a good wife.
I said, just sign me up for whatever's left.
I love that.
Yeah, so on Friday morning, I'm talking to the VIPs about the psychology of money. I'm excited of putting that together. Sunday, I'm running the panel about the Black family. I'm real excited about that. And then I'm doing my own breakout session with my friend Lachelle Whitmore. So I'm having fun. I'll be around though. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's gonna be around. And if y'all want to get therapized in person,
yes,
she's gonna be there to therapize you. So it's free. Dr. Lene, what you gonna be teaching? What you gonna be talking about?
On Friday, I am VIP. I'll be speaking on Friday at the VIP day. I have an hour conversation on defining your brilliance in leadership, which I am geeked about. I'm so excited to do that conversation. Saturday, I believe I am on a panel with our executive producer. And Sunday, I am in a breakout talking about business.
Yes. And I think I'm on a real estate panel, and I think I'm doing a breakout. And then I'm going to be on the panel with you guys, and it's going to be all of us on the damn panel. So we're going to have a good time. And I may end up being a little inappropriate on that day too. And I'm sorry in advance. So if McFact is there, for any of those other people there who get highly offended as a Christian woman cursing, I'm sorry in advance. Anyway, we appreciate you tuning in. I'm not going to be here tomorrow because I'm going to be on a plane headed out to Chicago. However, we will be here tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. So make sure that you tune in to Fly Nubian Money. We appreciate y'all. We love you, and we thank you, and we will see you on the other side.